Raise your drinks up casually. Raise your drinks up. Raise your drinks up casually. It's the Black Bourbon family.
Hey everyone, this is part 2 of our 3-part series with Nancy Fraley. We hope you continue to enjoy the conversation.
Cigar blend, on the other hand, as you've got there. So I've been a pipe smoker for about 32 years.
Okay.
And I mean, not like I do this every day. Now that I'm moving up into my 50s, I'm trying to keep a little healthier these days. But I was out here on my deck one night. I've got like I was saying, I live in Berkeley, California, and I've got a deck with a lot of redwoods around it.
Okay.
And it was one spring night, I think in 2016, and I brought out a lot of my usual suspects like William LaRue Weller and Stag and
okay,
some old Willet and all that kind of stuff, and nothing was quite working for me that night with my pipe. And I thought, well, I am a brandy I've got brandy background, so and I'm a big Armagnac fan too. I could collect vintage Armagnacs, which I think bourbon fans, there's a good connect there.
Yeah.
So what happened is I got inspired, and out come the old graduated cylinders and I started taking barrel samples from the Magnus stock that I had around the house, and start playing with and anyway, long story short, I kind of came out with some kind of proto version of cigar blend. And I think I don't know if you guys saw the pictures of other cognac cigar blends that you might find that in your email. Before we got on here, I sent some pictures of that, but I just wanted to explain what a cigar blend is. So there's a whole tradition in the cognac world of making cognacs that are they're blended to specially pair with a fine cigar.
Okay.
And that's a long tradition, and I would definitely advise if you all ever want to get into that, I'd be happy to lead you in the right place.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's some really good products out there, and I kind of did this like as an homage to my own mentor. And I thought, well, what do I work with? Well, bourbon is what I've found myself working with in my career. So I thought, well, maybe I could make a cigar blend bourbon.
Yeah.
That's not to say other bourbons don't go well with cigars, but which they do, and I smoke them and drink them too. I'm not a one trick pony here by any stretch, but the reason I created it was kind of like a nod to my brandy background and the cognac world and such. So what this product has in it, the way it's different is I always use the oldest stock that I've got at Magnus.
Okay.
So whereas the regular Magnus might be in the kind of depends on what I've got to play with at the time, but on average maybe 9-ish years to 11 or so. With cigar blend, it's usually in the what you've got there would be 13.5 to 20-year-old.
Oh wow!
In the blend, and so what I do is I take bourbons. The majority would be 13.5 to maybe 14-year-old. Combine that with some 20-year-old, and then just a little bit of the triple cask. and then I put all of that, about 16 barrels worth of bourbon, plus the Magnus triple cask. Then I put that into Armagnac casks, and say about 6 casks. And so in reality, the only finish that ought to ever be perceptible in cigar blend is Armagnac.
Okay.
And the only reason I use a little bit of the triple cask, and I really haven't been using it so much lately, but is that I like to just, if you're gonna smoke a cigar, you like to have, you don't want your bourbon to be too dry either, right? Because you're going to get enough dryness on the palate
Exactly.
from your cigar.
Yeah.
So that's the what I like to do, or to choose casks that are a little bit on the sweeter side too, but not too sweet, not cloying.
Yeah.
You're talking her language,
Yes.
Nancy.
That's why the bottle's almost gone.
Well, that's and you've got 46 right there, right?
Yes, this is batch 46.
Okay,
Yep.
that's the one I called Psychedelic Summer. So,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. And when you told me that name, I said, I think this shirt, it's not necessarily psychedelic, like with bright colors, like neon colors, but I wanted to put some color into it,
I love it. I love it. That's
Did you have anything you want to? We've kind of jotted down our questions for you, just in case
yeah, sure.
Knew we would get some.
Yeah. So while we're talking about cigar blend, which is one of your favorite so far that you've made? Your blend batches. Which one is your favorite blend batches that you've made so far?
I guess of the recent batches. Let's talk about recent. Yeah.
I was going to say it's often the ones I'm working on at the moment. No, but probably the ones that are part of the kind of like a larger, what I call a coupe mare, a mother blend.
Okay.
That your bottle came from. So it would have been 41 through 47.
Okay.
And I called those the rock and roll batches because on the way from when the Magnus distillery moved from Washington D.C. to Michigan, the barrels were in the truck moving around, kind of agitating during that time. And I noticed that when I checked the samples from those barrels about like every 2 or 3 weeks, just to make sure everything's on track. And Brandy, my came up to kind of nose, what's going on, Mom? But God, where was I? Oh yeah. On those batches, it seemed to pull out a lot of wood sugars and some good spice from the Armagnac cask.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, more than it would usually. I mean, not that it doesn't pull that out, normally, but when it was sloshing around in those barrels, it pulled out some good stuff.
Okay.
So I thought, well, I'll name it the rock and roll series. And so I've it's just kind of fun for me to make up these silly little names for.
No, that's pretty cool though. And thinking about the rocking and rolling, you saying it's swishing around and everything.
Yeah.
Cool. So it makes sense, right? It's not like you just came with a way off name and just called it.
No. There's always the reason why. And I probably started naming the batches. I think when they were in their teens or early 20s, and the batches from around then, in part just to amuse myself, because I always have to make the tasting notes, but I also do it because when I'm taking tasting notes, I kind of let hope this doesn't sound hokey or anything, but I kind of let the whether it's cigar blend or anything else, I let it take me on a journey. And I'm very I guess having to do with my super taster abilities or with whatever, I'm very visual when it comes to tasting things. And so I like to like your batch psychedelic series, I was just getting into the all the colors and the letting it take me away. But that's kind of how I come up with the names for these. I kind of let them tell me what they are, if that makes sense.
Okay, great.
That's fun.
Well, no, that's a lot of great info, Nancy. Just understanding the origin of the Magnus and how you developed the cigar blend, as well as the differences, because that was one thing I was trying to do a lot of research prior to the conversation to figure out, what's the real difference between the two. And I saw aging was maybe one, but I couldn't get anything definite, right? So I said, I gotta ask the question just to make sure I understand.
Well, just real quick, another big difference I didn't even think about is that whereas the regular Magnus is always going to be 100 proof.
Okay. Yep.
That cigar blend is whatever it is in the cask.
Got it.
I just let it go where it wants, and so you probably noticed how much higher proof that is.
Yeah, because I think this one specifically is 127.9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good.
I've got some coming out that are going to be like a little over 132.
Oh, wow.
So it's a two that are going to be kind of on the very high side. Maybe a little too high. I don't know.
No.
The higher proofs, the higher the better.
Nothing is too high, Nancy. Nothing is too high. So Nancy, I think, for us, as well as the folks that are watching, if we could get what I'll just call a nosing session or a nosing class. So what we have here in the smaller Glencairns, we have the regular Joseph A. Magnus, and then in the taller ones with the stem, we have the cigar blend. So whichever one you want us to walk through, either one, we're definitely happy to do it with you.
Well, let's start with the regular Magnus triple cask.
Okay.
And go from there. And so one thing I like to for the folks at home that might want to kind of learn some tricks of the trade, as it were.
Yeah.
Where you put your nose in the glass is really going to affect what kind of experience you have. So if you notice, if you put your nose up towards the top,
mm-hmm.
you're probably going to get a lot of the kind of aromatics that you want to. Oh, wow. Whereas if you put your nose down towards the bottom, it's going to be a lot more aggressive. You're going to get a lot more aggressive alcohol.
Wow. You know what, Nancy?
That was a great tip.
Oh man! Now Brandy is going to start smelling some stuff.
Maybe I should get some.
Oh, yeah, and along those those lines too, you might notice that if you move the glass from one nostril to the other, that you're going to get different experiences and different notes, and you might even find that that you're a little bit more sensitive on one side or the other.
Yeah.
Or you might be what I call nasally ambidextrous.
Both are the same, huh?
Right. Yeah, most people either get it, they're a little bit more sensitive on one side or the other.
Wow.
So that's a good thing to kind of enhance your enjoyment.
Okay. Very nice.
And so what I like to do is just because of the high proof, I just kind of roll the glass around, rather than agitating it too much. Just, kind of roll it around, get the sides coated, and then
I always agitate it. I will omit.
And then, put your nose up towards the top of the glass. And then kind of work your way in. And what batch of the triple cask do you have?
We have batch 123, bottle number 30.
Well, okay, yeah, I've got 151. Bottle 567. So that's probably. And then taste.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This tastes very good. And so when you're tasting, do you allow yourself to like initially for 5 seconds or so, just like letting it sit in our mouth or whatever? Is that something that you would recommend? Like, how do you recommend the taste?
Yeah, I definitely would. One thing I neglected to mention too is that if you keep your lips a little parted as you're nosing, you're also going to get a much fuller experience because the molecules from the whiskey will be going both into your nose and back through your throat and such, and it's going to complete a bigger picture. So yeah, when I taste though, I do tend to kind of chew on it a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
And then after I swallow, I just try and get a little bit of oxygen in, so I'll as thus. Yeah, taking a little bit of air, and then you can kind of see what kind of length you get on that and what kind of notes you're getting from it.
For me, like in smelling it, so you mentioned Armagnac, and I bought a bottle of, it's like a 25-year-old Armagnac. I got it behind this. Regardless of that.
Yeah.
I like to smell it, and I can taste and smell that Armagnac sweetness as I'm nosing and tasting this. When I think about what those tastes are, this is where I try my best. It's not so I'll just start off by saying it's not the typical caramel that you would notice with bourbon.
Right.
It's more up to me, and I don't want to take over. I want you to tell too. It's more to me like it's like in that fruit arena. I almost think of like some tropical fruits, like a pineapple or melon and things like that when I drink and taste it.
I tend to think about that too. And when we move over to a cigar blend, we'll probably be noticing that kind of thing even more. I tend to get a lot of dark dried fruit.
And that's what I would
date or fig, maybe dried apricot, even those kind of things on the regular Magnus, but because of the sherry influence, I tend to get a lot of nuttiness from it.
Okay.
So maybe grilled nuts or something kind of along those lines, or also some dark dried fruit in there too, just from the sherry as well, some dark notes.
And let me ask you, Nancy, this, and it's kind of off topic a little bit, but do you cook a lot, or do you?
I do.
And so here's what I'm going to say.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm not a huge cooker. I'm the normal, hamburger. I can put stuff on the grill. I can throw down on the grill, Nancy. But when it comes to like pots and pans, this is the queen right here. And so this is why I try to encourage her to smell, because she is so familiar with the different spices and the different notes and things like that. So I feel like that's her advantage, is that, and she doesn't like to use it. She likes to taste it, but but no, I really feel like that is something that really helps when it comes to this. Like those things, when you mention them, I was like, oh yeah. Like when you said the nuts and I did like this again, I was like, oh, it does smell a little nutty, but that's just not something that comes to my mind just automatically.
Yeah. And I tend not to, smell a lot of what I'm just cooking. I smell the aroma as it's going, but individually, I don't necessarily pick up and I should. And I think that would help me as well.
That would be something that would really be beneficial too. And forgive me, I'm going to switch over to
no problem.
Don't
but one thing, God, how many? Almost 10 years ago, I created a craft whiskey aroma wheel. And one thing it took me about 3 years to do this thing. And one thing I learned is that you can, whether it's for bourbon or wine or, cheese or, coffee or tea, whatever it is, cheese, pork, you can break aroma down into some really basic constituents. And this is a good way to, have the folks at home or anybody that kind of wants to develop their palate and their nose, is that you can break it down into fruit, floral, herbal/vegetal, smoke, oily, slash fatty. Let's see, the 5. Spice. I don't know if I said that or not, and then sweet.
Okay.
And that's and then after a while once you kind of get the fruit down, for example, you think, well, cigar blend, I get the fruit. Well, what kind of fruit is it? Is it like orchard fruit? And if it's like apple or pear, is it like fresh apple, or is it like apple pie, like a baked fruit type of note, or there you can just start taking that a lot further. If it's smoke, well, what kind of smoke is it? Or if it's sweet, well, is it sweet like toffee or caramel, or is it more like con pie filling, or you can just keep kind of expanding on that. But if you just kind of break it down to those very simple 6 or 7 constituents, then you can train yourself. You think like in the kitchen, with cooking. If you're getting some herbal or vegetable note in there, is it more like hay or grass, or is it more like maybe tea, or with cigar blend, for example, I get some tobacco on there, so it kind of goes beyond that hay and tea note to all the way to tobacco, or is it, are you getting tarragon, or you can just take it on and on and on, but that's a really good way to train yourself. And then one thing I did to kind of be as I was training myself years ago was just kind of be aware through my day. Get up in the morning, what am I smelling? Do I smell the bacon cooking, or is it toast in the toaster, with marmalade on it, or you just try and consciously go through your day and be aware of aromas, and after a while it'll start kicking in as it were, and you'll get really good at coming up with tasting notes for bourbon, and you'll see all kinds of stuff that you never saw before, potpourri to shoe leather to just some wild stuff, baklava, rose water. I've seen all kinds of stuff out there. the copper tan sun lotion. Oh yeah, that's the real one. Yeah, that's.
Wow, that is.
So yeah, I hope that kind of helps you all, and anybody that would be watching your program too, to learn how to train themselves. So you can have so much fun coming up with notes for bourbon. It's just your imagination's the limit. Really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good.
So
This is the end of part 2. See you at part 3.